Hi everyone! I have here Nailite's Odorless Monomer. I just did a video on it, a first impression smelling video, that's right. And if you want to watch that smelling video, the link will be up in the right hand corner. Follow the arrow. In this video, I am going to be doing just what I told you I was going to do. I'm going to be demonstrating this monomer with all the dry powdered acrylics that I have. And we'll see how it works. We'll watch the setting of it and see how long it takes. I also have some tips and tricks in this video that will help you to be able to use this product easier. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I get going on the testing, I know I'm going to have some people say, wow, why don't you just use e-nail coutures? It smells like cotton candy. And you know what? It smells like cotton candy, but it also smells like monomer. So I can tolerate it for a short while, but it's the same thing. It's just a very strong smelling monomer with cotton candy scent. At least that's what it smells like to me. Okay, so I have several powders that I want to use with this Nailite monomer. And the first one I do have is Nailite's Omega acrylic powder in white. So I'm going to use that first. And then I do have some tones in glass. And I have tones in Cover Almond. I do have a Cheap Beauty Secrets from Sally's. This is a bright white. And I do have an off-brand from my local nail supply store that is called Protec Nails, and that is in clear. We'll start off with the white from Nailite. When I use monomers that are very strong smelling, whether I use a mask or not, I always feel like I can taste it in my mouth. Does anyone else feel the same way? Does anyone else experience that? If you do, write that in the comments below, because I'd like to know. Maybe it's just me. Now, when I take my brush and I dip it in the white, like 1, 2, 3 times, and I don't believe I let that set up enough before I put it on the swatch stick, because it is quite like watery and loose. But I always seem to have trouble with white, no matter what monomer it is. And of course, I don't smell anything at all. Throughout the video, all the powders that I used, I never smelled any kind of a acrylic smell. But it is a very slow setting. I'm just going to watch it, because a lot of times if it gets smooth, that bead, then it's ready to put down. So, but yeah, I think I don't smell anything, and it does seem to be okay. I don't think it's really that bad, as long as you put your brush in and then you dab it 3 times, turn it over and watch it, and the bead will become smooth. Then you know it's time to set it on there. Let it level out a little bit there. Wow. And I don't smell anything. Isn't that amazing? Wow. It is taking a little bit more of time to dry, but it didn't seem too bad, the beads. See, it's still a little bit bumpy, that bead. Do you see that little bit of bumpiness in it? Oh wait, now it's starting to smooth a little bit. And this is starting to cure now, because I can see, do you see the little wet spot down the middle there, not the end? And it's getting kind of matte on the sides. That's because it's drying. So let's go ahead and put this on. It looks smooth now. Oh wow, yeah. See, it is drying, that one. That bead dried a little bit too much, but yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm going to try the off-brand from my local nail supply store, ProTech. This is clear. And we'll see if we smell anything. Wow, that kind of like, when I put it on there, it kind of spread. Let me smell it. No, I don't smell anything. I smell, you know, when I put it up to my nose, I smell that plastic smell. Dip it in there longer. See, it's a little bumpy. I'll put that right on there. Yeah, I don't smell anything. And that, well, that seemed to be pretty easy to work. No problem. Tones, glass. And I'm not putting it on the underside of the swatch stick because I don't think that that shows you how it works, you know, how it really works. Let's just sit that on there now. Well, that's holding up. Yep. And no smell. Okay. Give it some time here. Yep. Not bad. I mean, it's not dry. Now it's time to do tones cover. And I've been finding out that with this, I do have to dip about 4 times. Then I bring it up and you can bleed out the, you can blot out the liquid. And then you can set it on the stick here. And it's still kind of wet. I find that I have to keep wetting my brush a little bit to keep it smooth. But we're not trying to be perfect here. We're just trying to see how the workability is of it. It's definitely a slower working acrylic, definitely. And I think you have to just let it sit there for a little bit. And you know, it will smooth out on the top pretty fast, the bead. And then just, I set it down and I let it kind of, it'll spread out a little bit. But it definitely is a lot slower. See, I can tell it's not ready to pat because it's just really liquidy and it'll stick to the brush really, really good. You see that? It's just kind of sticking. Seems like when acrylic is ready to push and pat, it doesn't stick, you know, and it's sticking. But it is a slower set. And I suppose it's just you have to learn how to work with it this way. Just a new way to work with it, you know? That was a pretty good one. And I have been timing the swatch sticks, so I have a little bit of information to tell you after I get this last one done. I mean, definitely will have to, I'll have to adjust myself to this, but it doesn't have any smell and it's very tolerable. So let me tell you what I found out so far. These are some that I did. I did like two sets. These are ones that I did yesterday, and they and these are the ones that I just recently did, and I just recently did like on camera this one for you. I wanted to do another set and time them, so that's what I did. All right, so this back up to this one that I did yesterday, and I noticed that of course they had their little tacky layer, but you know what, after an hour that tacky layer was completely gone. But I mean, who wants to wait an hour for a tacky layer to go away? So anyway, so let me put these aside. With the whites, white seems to me, when I work with any kind of white with acrylic, it's harder for me to work with whites, and I don't like white acrylic really for some reason. I don't know, it just seems like it just becomes gummy, and it made the liquid kind of get thicker and gummier, so I had to dump it out because I started with white first. So I dumped it out and started with the fresh for these two clears and this cover. Now, one of these is the Nailite and one is the Sally's Beauty Secrets, and they were sticky, kind of, well, not sticky, it's like, I don't know, a little tacky or something, like a little tacky. Even after like 15 minutes, they were still a little tacky. And then the clear is a little bit better. One of these clears is a generic brand from my local beauty supply store. And then this one is Tones. And it's still a little tacky too after 10 minutes. And same here, this is Tones cover. Little tacky. So let's just take one and we're going to file it a little bit and see what that feels like. Let's just see. And you know what? It's completely dry, even though it does have that tacky layer. If you listen, it's dry. You know, I think it was dry to file within like 5 minutes, I would say, but it was tacky. It's tacky, you know. Now, when I file this, it seems like that tacky layer will roll up, but it files off easy. So that would be just part of your filing process. You would have that little tacky gumminess that you would have to file off. That's all. And then let's try something. Let's see if we take some alcohol and just wipe that off and see if that works. I don't know. Seems like it's still even gummier, so that won't work. A little bit tacky. And it's coming off. It's not really a big deal. It's just part of the process. So yes, very slow drying. And you saw how I tried to manipulate it and everything. It seems like you have to wait a little bit longer before you push and pat. Now I have another experiment. And what I'm doing here is, since I have 2 bottles of monomer, this one has been soaking in hot tap water for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to use this now and see if it will set up faster since the liquid is warmer. And this is the only safe way to warm up your liquid, okay? If you need to do this. But we'll see if it works, you know. And I'm not going to use the white because I very rarely work with white anyways, and I just don't like how white works. It just is really, it dirties up the liquid too quick. I do clears and the cover. Generic clear. We'll see if it has any kind of a, let's see if it feels warm. If it has any kind of effect on it. Again, you can blot out your brush. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be, warming it up really doesn't seem to make any difference. It's still, yeah, it's still, yeah, pretty loose. Pretty runny. Slow setting. I have another experiment that I wanted to try because I have known this for quite a few years. And this is used a lot when you do 3D work, is you have some monomer and you add some pure acetone to it. And that helps your acrylic set up faster. So let's try that. So I have some monomer in my little dish here, and I'm going to add just a little bit more. Okay. Now you're going to have to figure out just how much acetone you think you want. You want to start out with a little bit at first, because I don't really know the ratios to that. So I don't know if you can see that much right there. I want to add, let me add just a little bit more. Okay, I think that's good. Give it a little stir. Using some 3D art acrylic powder from Tones. Well, I can see it spreading out. Maybe I had it too liquidy. I know sometimes if you poke it in the middle and it stays, it's ready. A little bit longer. I don't think I bled the liquid out of there. That's probably why. Yeah, it's kind of working up really nice. Feels good. I like that. Not bad. That's pretty good. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, now I'm going to bleed that out a little bit. Now I'll set it on. Yep, that's ready. We're just testing this really quick, you know, just to see if it can make some petals, you know, for us. Bleed out that liquid. I'll set it right there. Not bad. It seems to be working. Seems to be working with the acetone in it better. A lot better. Because that's basically why I want to use acrylic, because I like to do a lot of my 3D in acrylic. I mean, not all of it, but some, you know. See, when I poke a hole like in the acrylic, and if it starts to stay, that little hole, I know it's about ready to press. I want to add just a little bit more acetone because I wasn't sure. There, that's 3 drops. But this acetone trick seems to be working. Try this again. I'm going to bleed that out, blot that out a little bit. I'll just put it on here. Oh yeah, that seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, I think it's working much better. Yeah. Do you know what this tells me? If you add a little bit of pure acetone into the monomer, that it will help to set the odorless monomer quicker for you. If it does it with 3D, it's going to do it when you're creating and sculpting your acrylic nails. And I'm going to try that real quick for you. So let's do that. Coming in with some acetone. Just going to add like about that much. I think that might be good. Stir it up. And for this demo, I'm going to be using just the tones of glass. Okay, we're just going to see how this works with the acetone inside the monomer. And I don't notice any other different smell. So it doesn't really change the smell at all. And you know what? I can tell already it's better. It's already better. I might be rushing it. Maybe I needed a little bit more acetone in there, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Just gotta give it some time, I guess. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm wondering if I should just add just a tiny bit more acetone. Let's just add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see it looks bumpy still. A lot of times I wait for that to smooth out and then I place the bead. It's smoothing out, so let's go ahead and place it. Oh wow, yeah. See that? It didn't even really move. So I think, yeah. Oh wow, that's really, whoops. I mean, it's not perfect, but we're testing. So yeah, I think that, oh wow, adding that acetone, those 6 more drops really, dip it in there 3 times. I won't wait as long, I don't think. Yeah, that really worked. I guess you have to find the right ratio for you. Here is the finished nail that I did using the tones acrylic in clear and cover, and I also did this putting the acetone in the monomer, and it did speed up the curing time quite a bit. Here's the flower that I did. I finished it. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's not a perfect job. And then of course the leaves. These did dry a lot faster, and it had acetone in the monomer. Now it did dry and it had like a slight stickiness to it, and you know that will go away after a full hour and it won't be there. But you can't file, you know, when you do 3D, there's, you know, you can't file that off. So it was just ever so slightly tacky, not much. So what I did is I came in with this toothbrush that I use a lot of times for different things, and I just rubbed it like that, and it took that away, took that tackiness away. But yeah, it worked really good with the acetone added in the monomer when I do my 3D work. So I think it's gonna work out good for me. Now I want to do a recap on what I have found out. Well, what I have found out is that it is pretty much completely odorless. There's no smell to it unless you put your nose right up to the neck of the bottle. And what it smells like is like a plastic smell, like a slight melting plastic smell, but that's all it is. There's no fumes, no vapors, and unless you have your nose up there, you won't smell anything. And that is pretty much makes it a real odorless. I do know that it is slow setting, that you do have to take more time and allow the beads to set up before you start manipulating them, and that when it does set up, even though you might think that it's not dry, it will have this tacky layer on it. And you might think, oh, well, it's not dry yet. If you tap the nail with an instrument like this, you can tell that clicking sound that it really is dry, and that the tacky layer is just there and that you have to file it off. I found out that filing off that tacky layer is no big deal. It files off really easy and quick. It's just a part of your filing process. I also found out that by warming up this monomer and then trying it with the 3 brands of acrylic powder that I had on hand, it doesn't really change it, whether it's, you know, warm or not. It's still slow setting. I did also find out that with white acrylic, it's hard for me to work with, so I don't really, you know, plan on using it much with white unless I add the acetone. And that's the next thing. If you add some acetone to the monomer gradually, you got to figure out your own ratio. Then this acrylic monomer will set up quicker for you, and it will also work out better for 3D. That's for me, and I'm happy that I found that out because I want to use this for 3D mostly. And you know, of course, for when I do acrylic sets. But adding the acetone, the pure acetone, speeds up the curing. Now there will be a slight, there could be, now there was on my 3D flower, there was a little bit of a tacky layer left there. Not heavy at all. And I knew that within an hour it would be gone, but I took my brush and I rubbed it and it kind of took that away. So that is a good, you know, that's good for you to know for 3D. So don't fret about that. I think it's going to be great for 3D for me. You saw how once I added the acetone, how those petals came together really nice, especially the leaves that I showed you. So yeah, I know that by adding the acetone will speed up the curing or drying process. So overall, I really think it's worth it. to save me from my bad migraines. I think it's great. I think it was a good investment. And I think that if anybody else out there buys it, I think you will like it too. You just try out the 4 ounce, get that. They do have a 1 ounce, but that's out of stock right now, I think. So you could just test with the 1 ounce and it wouldn't be that much money. I also heard that Koopa has an odorless too out. So I don't know if I'm going to purchase that and try that out or not. But I think I did a pretty thorough demo for you. Wanted to show you what I learned. And that's what I learned. And I am able to deal with that. So that is the end of the review and demonstration. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.